Number 10. Nigella Lawson and Charles Saatchi. The couple's fight was witnessed by a photographer who stumbled upon celebrity chef Nigella Lawson being choked by none other than her husband, Britain's most high-profile figure, Charles Saatchi. The incident all went down during her birthday lunch, and a now infamous photo was captured of the chilling sight. The photographer, who only went by the name Jean-Paul, told Vanity Fair in 2013 that when Charles grabbed his wife's throat, quote, "It was so violent, with such force that her head snapped backward." The story hit the tabloids at full speed and actually served to open up a much-needed conversation about domestic violence. Their relationship was obviously far from perfect, but the intense controversy that the incident sparked was enough to tear them apart forever. That same year, Charles filed for divorce from Nigella after 10 years of marriage. Funnily enough, he later told the Daily Mail that putting his hands on her throat was merely a gesture, and insisted that there was no pressure applied to her. Yeah, right. Number 9. Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries. Their 72-day marriage had certainly shown signs that it was going to end quickly. A few days before Kim divorced Kris on day 68, the couple was spotted arguing in their car while out on a dinner date in Hollywood. The newlywed couple were photographed heading back to Kim's car after dinner, and you could visibly see the tension in the air. Kris looked fed up, and Kim was giving her new husband the death stare while yelling and waving her hands at him as the argument began to escalate. This very public fight was indicative that their relationship was on the rocks, because that same year Kim went on to file for divorce and got the marriage annulled. The Los Angeles Times even reported that Kim had only married him to increase ratings on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The best part was that Kris asked for a $7 million divorce settlement from his ex-wife. Otherwise, he threatened to make her endure an ugly public trial. But the NBA star ended up walking away with literally nothing. Number 8. Emma Roberts and Evan Peters. The American Horror Story actors first met on the set of Adult World in 2012, and in the short 4 years since then, the two have shared more drama than some of Hollywood's biggest blockbusters. Toxic doesn't even begin to describe their relationship. We're talking about at least 3 breakups and deleting all social media traces of each other. Early on in their relationship, TMZ reported that the two got into a heated argument while staying at a hotel in Montreal that ended up with both stars getting physical. When police arrived, Peters was found with a bloody nose and bite marks on his body, prompting police to take Emma into custody, arresting her for domestic violence. But her then boyfriend decided not to press charges, and they were back together a few hours later. What's really bizarre is that a couple of days after the fight, photos were shared online of Emma clinging to Evan while sobbing into his arms after news broke of the fight. Paparazzi were even able to capture the two hugging one another, with Emma looking extremely upset the whole time. The incident was a bit of a grey area, but many have labeled it as straight up domestic violence. Number 7. Stephen Amell and Cassandra Jean Amell. The couple have been married since 2012, and all seemed well in public until it didn't. The star of CW's Arrow and his wife got into an altercation on a Delta flight from Austin to Los Angeles that ended up with the actor having to be forcibly removed from the flight. Stephen was reportedly screaming at Cassandra while they were seated on the plane and appeared to be intoxicated when a flight attendant asked him to calm down multiple times. When the fight escalated to the point of no return, the actor had to be restrained and removed by an air marshal and 3 flight attendants that worked together to get him off the plane. His wife did not go with him and instead chose to remain on the flight. Big surprise there. With the incident made public, Stephen took to Twitter to try and explain the whole thing and claimed that his emotions got the better of him. Quote, "My wife and I got into an argument. I was asked to lower my voice and I did. Approximately 10 minutes later, I was asked to leave the flight, and I did so immediately. I was not forcibly removed." The whole thing was really absurd because if they needed 4 people to get him off the flight, something about his side of the story just doesn't add up. Number 6. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Before the former couple split, their relationship was clearly becoming strained, as The Sun reported that the same year that Jolie filed for divorce, they were spotted in Legoland having a major public spat. Onlookers told the magazine that both stars didn't look happy and looked stern-faced, and photos from the incident show Brad actually grabbing Angelina's arm while she pulls away and appears to be screaming at him. The couple filed for divorce in 2016, citing irreconcilable differences. Now the actors are both learning to co-parent their 6 children after years of custody battles and child support drama. According to Daily Mail, Brad has even been seen visiting Angelina's house to spend time with his kids, so it sounds like they are back on good terms.
We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Khloe Kardashian and Tristan Thompson. Since 2016, Khloe and Tristan have been dating on and off. On June 21st of 2021, the pair called it off again. Now, many people would agree that their relationship isn't the best, and that's because Tristan has cheated on Khloe a number of times. Khloe even said that she has felt betrayed by him, but still continues to go back to him. And just this year, it was revealed that Tristan is the father to a 3rd child. He was dating Khloe at the time that his son was conceived. Like, come on, Khloe, you deserve so much better. In our 4th spot, we have John Mulaney and Anna Marie Tendler. After 6 years of marriage together, the couple announced on May 10th that they have split up. John's spokesperson said, and I quote, "John will not have any further comment as he continues to focus on his recovery and getting back to work." Meanwhile, Anna said, and I quote, "I am heartbroken that John has decided to end our marriage. I wish him support and success as he continues his recovery." So it was John who decided to file for divorce. Later, it was revealed that the pair was going through a rough patch, while also experiencing irreconcilable differences in their marriage. Just months later, John got together with Olivia Munn. Fans were shocked at how fast he moved on. And only months into their new relationship, they announced that they were expecting their first child, which was shocking, not only due to the fact how fast it all happened, but also because Mulaney has also made it clear that he didn't want kids. Moving on to number 3, we have Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez. J-Lo and A-Rod first met in 1999 when Alex was still playing baseball. Then again at a Yankees game in 2005, but at the time they were both married to other people. Eventually though, things fell into place and the pair began dating in 2017. 2 years later, in 2019, they got engaged. But in March of 2021, the pair split. According to J-Lo's friend that talked about their split, she said, and I quote, "J-Lo insisted on it. There are too many issues that are unresolved. She has been pretty miserable and didn't think it was in her best interest to stay with Alex." Then, only months later, rumors swirled about J-Lo and Ben Affleck getting back together. And now it's official. They are. Hashtag Bennifer for life. In our 2nd spot, we have Shia LaBeouf and Margaret Qualley. This pair started dating after starring in a music video together, Love Me Like You Hate Me. However, in January of 2021, the pair split after Shia got into legal troubles with his ex-girlfriend FKA Twigs. They split just weeks after his ex filed a lawsuit against him. Shia denied all the allegations, but Margaret did not want to be with a man accused of such. And in our number 1 spot today, we have Kim and Kanye. Of course, they had to make it to number 1 on today's list because everything going on between them is wild. On January 5th, 2021, news broke that Kim and Kanye were ending their marriage, and on February 19th, 2021, Kim officially filed for divorce. The two have 4 children together, and that right now is causing a lot of drama. Apparently, Kim was keeping the kids away from Kanye. Kim wants full custody, but obviously Kanye wants joint custody. Kim says that Kanye is unstable. Kanye says that Kim's unstable. It's just really messy. And now it's even worse when you throw Pete Davidson into the mix. That's just adding more fuel to the fire. On June 10th, 2021, during the Keeping Up with the Kardashians season finale, Kim said, and I quote, "After turning 40 this year, I realized, no, I don't want a husband that lives in a completely different state. To me, I thought, oh my God, that's when we're getting along the best. But then, that is sad to me, and that's not what I want." Yikes, that's a hard thing to admit. And I feel like their situation is going to just keep getting messier before it gets better.
Coming in at number 10 today, we have Kanye West. Kanye West's mental health has been deteriorating for a while now, and it's gotten to the point that someone just needs to take his phone away and get him the help he needs. This past year, Kanye has been going on unhinged rants where he's posted some anti-Semitic comments. With Twitter and Instagram taking these comments seriously, they would even suspend Kanye's accounts for a bit. with Kanye showing up to an event wearing a White Lives Matter shirt. And during an interview with Tucker Carlson, he would spool out conspiracy theories to such a degree that he had to ask if he had landed in the Alex Jones territory yet. The instability from Kanye is hardly surprising, as several years ago the rapper was showing us concerning signs that we all should have been watching, and not just because of his mental health, but because of his beliefs. Kanye has been paving a path to his own downfall over the last couple of years, and with having bipolar disorder and being in the public eye, there are periods of times where Kanye is faced with high levels of stress, and it's become a huge risk factor more than ever as he's continued to have manic episodes, and the world has been seeing countless manic episodes come from the star. And as long as we keep encouraging them, it's only going to get worse from here. And number 9, Cara Delevingne. When Cara Delevingne's alleged breakdown started to hit headlines, some tabloids have even gone as far to publish some concerning paparazzi shots of the model at her most vulnerable, with some of these photos feeling reminiscent of the photos that were published of Britney Spears when she shaved her head. We should have seen all the signs leading up to Cara Delevingne's breakdown, as the situation has been building up for years now. Instead of the media realizing that the model was struggling and that her closest friends and family were deeply concerned for her, the media continued to ignore Cara's calls for privacy and began to stalk her and create narratives about her so they could make money. With Cara's constant partying and odd behavior, it has become the main contributors to her breakdown this year. Saying that Cara has been going through a tough time lately would be an understatement, and the fact that the media has continued to add videos and pictures while headlining the star's downfall, as she's been pictured with messy hair and no shoes at an airport, has definitely had a negative impact on Cara and her loved ones. With that being said, Cara's family and friends are urging her to go to rehab, and we should have known that something more serious was going on with the star, and we should have been more supportive and understanding instead of mocking her to the world. Hey Peaches, are you enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And number 8, Will Smith. Will Smith left a lot of people confused during the 94th Annual Academy Awards, with the situation being tense for both people at home and in the audience at the event. The reaction from Smith is something we all should have seen coming, as he's been struggling for a while now, and he's let everything boil up to a point where he lost control and couldn't even retract his actions. With Will having a troubled childhood, a falling out with his son Jaden, and a strained relationship with his wife, we would all come to know after the Oscar incident that Will Smith has been struggling with a lot, especially when it comes to Jada, as she would even come out to say that she never even wanted to marry Will. Will has also come out recently to say you never know what a person is going through, and on the night of the Oscars he was going through a lot, while stating he's not using this as an excuse to justify his behavior. However, he found the punchline Chris used too much to bear, as Will has been allowing things in his life to build up for a while now, and with Jada constantly trying to humiliate Will every chance she gets, everything definitely bubbled up over time with the star, and before he knew it, he was so filled with rage that he would have no recollection of his actions, and that night would become a horrific night that he just can't seem to forget. And number 7, Gabby Hanna. Gabby Hanna's rise and fall to fame has been filled with a decade of online feuds and controversies that should have indicated something worse was coming. Back in August, Gabby Hanna started to make headlines after she posted 100 TikTok videos over the course of several hours, in which she described later as a manic episode. In the midst of her post, a stranger would even enter her house and live stream with her, claiming to be there to check on her well-being. However, many have suggested that the man was cynically motivated to check on Gabby for clout. She lives with bipolar disorder, and the days the event took place were throes of a manic episode at the time. With Gabby being no stranger to controversy, she's been involved in countless explosive feuds, drama, and speculation over the course of her decade-long career as an influencer, and all of these controversies should have indicated that she was having a breakdown. When Gabby opened up about her mental health, and when she took a break from social media, and when she returned to social media, and when police started doing welfare checks on the influencer, we all should have known the star was having some sort of mental breakdown, and we should have encouraged her to get the help she needed instead of ridicule her as she was having a manic phase that she never experienced before. Coming in at number 6, Scott Disick. This year, Scott Disick has gotten pretty real with us about his feelings. Back in April, he got pretty real about about how he was feeling left out of the Kardashian family barbecue due to Kourtney and Travis also being in attendance. Feeling left out and not being told anything going on has been especially hard on Scott because he doesn't have another family to go to. Even though losing Kourtney was a huge loss, he would rather be around her and Travis than not be around his family at all. With Scott messaging Kourtney's ex making fun of Travis, Kourtney would ultimately react to the DMs being shared and would label them as despicable on an episode of The Kardashians. While Scott has acknowledged that he has stopped trying to win Kourtney back, he's also said his feelings for her haven't gone away. He was having a hard time accepting the fact that she was now married, and we all should have noticed before he broke down. With Scott claiming he was working on himself, we should have noticed that his health was deteriorating after he was involved in a car accident due to speeding and declined medical treatment. While back in November, Scott told sources that he stepped up his treatment and therapy following years of public struggles and was considering attending an inpatient program for additional help. We all should have noticed he was struggling with loving himself.
At number 5, Marilyn Manson. I'm sure that by now you are all familiar with what went down with Marilyn Manson last year. The singer was exposed for having hurt a number of his former partners, and the information that has come out detailing some of his actions really show how much he crossed the line with these women. It all started when actress Evan Rachel Wood posted a statement on her Instagram exposing Marilyn for hurting her while they were together. In her statement, Evan called Marilyn manipulative and even brought up how he brainwashed her and caused her so much pain while they were together. Sadly, Evan isn't the only person who's come forward with horrific stories about the singer. Another public figure who's come forward is Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, who told sources about some of the things that she endured while with him. Now, because he crossed the line following this scandal, Manson was dropped from his music label and an investigation was launched by the LA County Sheriff's Department looking into some of the allegations against the singer. At number 4, Pete Davidson and Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson's relationship took a lot of people by surprise. It was short, it was intense, and the breakup was messy too. The two started dating in May of 2018, and by late June they were engaged. They fell for each other so quickly, moving in together and planning their lives together as well. But things ended just as quickly as they began, and by October they were done. After getting tattoos dedicated to each other, they were quickly covered up, and soon the shade began. Shortly after news of their breakup was broadcast, Pete poked fun at his failed relationship in a comedy set. Ariana then moved on to subtweeting her ex for shading her, and she even included a reference to their relationship in their song Thank You Next. There was some back and forth shading and dissing each other in more jokes and music, but that all seems to be over now. The shade was pretty serious, and it was kind of exposing something about the both of them, so overall this was just one big mess. At number 3, Iggy Azalea and Nick Young. When you've been unfaithful to your partner, you are bound to get exposed. No one really gets away with cheating, especially these days when everyone is capturing footage on their phones, and our presence on social media also makes things difficult to hide. Back in 2016, basketball player Nick Young was exposed by one of his teammates for having cheated on his then fiancée, Iggy Azalea. D'Angelo Russell, Nick's teammate, had recorded Nick talking about how he cheated on Iggy, and the footage was leaked to the internet. This caused Iggy to postpone their wedding, but things ultimately ended a few months later after Iggy confirmed that the footage was real and further exposed her man on Twitter, saying, quote, "I broke up with Nick because I found out he brought other women into our home while I was away and caught them on security footage," end quote. This was the last straw for Iggy, but that didn't help Nick's case after it was alleged that he had gotten his ex pregnant again while still in a relationship with Iggy. All in all, it was messy, but both have since moved on. At number 2, Caitlyn Jenner. The family's reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians had been on air for so long that it almost felt like it had been on TV forever. Obviously, it wasn't actually on TV since the beginning of time, but it was certainly a staple in a lot of people's homes. This show really boosted the careers of all the Kardashians, but who had the original idea for the show? Well, that's something that Caitlyn Jenner exposed. According to Caitlyn, she wrote in her book that she was the one who came up with the initial idea for the reality show, not Kris, as many were led to believe. In the memoir, Caitlyn wrote that she told Kris about her idea for the show, saying, quote, "The house is awash in puberty and adolescence and young adulthood, and two parents with very different styles. It seems to me something is there for television," end quote. She then goes on to say that Kris claimed to have come up with the idea for the show, then took it upon herself to pitch the show to Ryan Seacrest, and the rest is history. Caitlyn basically exposed Kris for taking all the credit for what made them famous. And finally, at number 1, Sam Smith. Sam Smith went official with Jonathan Zekiel back in early 2015, just for them to break up just shortly after confirming their relationship. Though the public was only made aware of their relationship for a short time, they must have spent a lot of time together prior to then, since Sam wrote a lot about him and dating Jonathan. It seems like their breakup did wonders for Sam's career, since we haven't been made aware of any specifics of their relationship. Since Sam wrote so much about their relationship that their album containing these details wound up winning them Record of the Year. During Sam's acceptance speech for the award, Sam said, quote, "Just a quick one, I want to thank the man who this record is about, who I fell in love with last year. Thank you so much for breaking my heart, because you got me 4 Grammys. The shade, but also true though. It was a subtle exposure, making people think that there was some big falling out, but that just added to the drama of Hollywood.
Number 10. Nigella Lawson and Charles Saatchi. The couple's fight was witnessed by a photographer who stumbled upon celebrity chef Nigella Lawson being choked by none other than her husband, Britain's most high-profile figure, Charles Saatchi. The incident all went down during her birthday lunch, and a now infamous photo was captured of the chilling sight. The photographer, who only went by the name Jean-Paul, told Vanity Fair in 2013 that when Charles grabbed his wife's throat, quote, "It was so violent, with such force, that her head snapped backward." The story hit the tabloids at full speed and actually served to open up a much-needed conversation about domestic violence. Their relationship was obviously far from perfect, but the intense controversy that the incident sparked was enough to tear them apart forever. That same year, Charles filed for divorce from Nigella after 10 years of marriage. Funnily enough, he later told the Daily Mail that putting his hands on her throat was merely a gesture, and insisted that there was no pressure applied to her. Yeah, right. Number 9. Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries. Their 72-day marriage had certainly shown signs that it was going to end quickly. A few days before Kim divorced Kris on day 68, the couple was spotted arguing in their car while out on a dinner date in Hollywood. The newlywed couple were photographed heading back to Kim's car after dinner, and you could visibly see the tension in the air. Kris looked fed up, and Kim was giving her new husband the death stare while yelling and waving her hands at him as the argument began to escalate. This very public fight was indicative that their relationship was on the rocks, because that same year Kim went on to file for divorce and got the marriage annulled. The Los Angeles Times even reported that Kim had only married him to increase ratings on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The best part was that Kris asked for a $7 million divorce settlement from his ex-wife. Otherwise, he threatened to make her endure an ugly public trial. But the NBA star ended up walking away with literally nothing. Number 8. Emma Roberts and Evan Peters. The American Horror Story actors first met on the set of Adult World in 2012, and in the short 4 years since then, the two have shared more drama than some of Hollywood's biggest blockbusters. Toxic doesn't even begin to describe their relationship. We're talking about at least 3 breakups and deleting all social media traces of each other. Early on in their relationship, TMZ reported that the two got into a heated argument while staying at a hotel in Montreal that ended up with both stars getting physical. When police arrived, Peters was found with a bloody nose and bite marks on his body, prompting police to take Emma into custody, arresting her for domestic violence. But her then boyfriend decided not to press charges, and they were back together a few hours later. What's really bizarre is that a couple of days after the fight, photos were shared online of Emma clinging to Evan while sobbing into his arms after news broke of the fight. Paparazzi were even able to capture the two hugging one another, with Emma looking extremely upset the whole time. The incident was a bit of a grey area, but many have labeled it as straight up domestic violence. Number 7. Stephen Amell and Cassandra Jean Amell. The couple have been married since 2012 and all seemed well in public until it didn't. The star of CW's Arrow and his wife got into an altercation on a Delta flight from Austin to Los Angeles that ended up with the actor having to be forcibly removed from the flight. Stephen was reportedly screaming at Cassandra while they were seated on the plane and appeared to be intoxicated when a flight attendant asked him to calm down multiple times. When the fight fight escalated to the point of no return, the actor had to be restrained and removed by an air marshal and 3 flight attendants that worked together to get him off the plane. His wife did not go with him and instead chose to remain on the flight. Big surprise there. With the incident made public, Steven took to Twitter to try and explain the whole thing and claimed that his emotions got the better of him. Quote, "My wife and I got into an argument. I was asked to lower my voice and I did. Approximately 10 minutes later, I was asked to leave the flight, and I did so immediately. I was not forcibly removed." The whole thing was really absurd because if they needed 4 people to get him off the flight, something about his side of the story just doesn't add up. Number 6, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Before the former couple split, their relationship was clearly becoming strained, as The Sun reported that the same year that Jolie filed for divorce, they were spotted in Legoland having a major public spat. Onlookers told the magazine that both stars didn't look happy and looked stern-faced, and photos from the incident show Brad actually grabbing Angelina's arm while she pulls away and appears to be screaming at him. The couple filed for divorce in 2016, citing irreconcilable differences. Now the actors are both learning to co-parent their 6 children after years of custody battles and child support drama. According to Daily Mail, Brad has even been seen visiting Angelina's house to spend time with his kids, so it sounds like they are back on good terms.
At number 5, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Brangelina used to be one of the hottest celebrity matches in Hollywood, but ever since their split, it's been dark times for them, especially Brad. Once upon a time, they were seen as the industry's it couple, having spanned over 10 years and raising many kids together, but their divorce is where things get toxic and messy. When the couple announced that they were calling it quits in 2016, a lot of people wondered why, and one of the answers given was because of a dispute that Brad had allegedly had with Angelina about his substance abuse that resulted in Brad getting into an altercation with their oldest son, Maddox. It was alleged that Brad was hurting others, and though an investigation cleared him of said allegations, Angie is now saying that she's prepared to share proof that Brad was in fact hurting his family. Recently, Angelina came forward saying that she is willing to offer her children's testimony against Brad as proof, and this could blow the doors off their relationship, giving us more information as to how toxic things really were. The fact that Angie claims to have proof of how bad things were shows how serious the situation was, and the fact that there's been so much drama and allegations against Brad, he might be considered to be an awful person. At number 4, Eminem and Kim Mathers. When asked about some toxic relationships they know of, a surprising amount of people reference Eminem and his ex-wife Kim Mathers because of their rocky past and marriage. Eminem met Kim in a youth home in 1988 when they were teenagers. From that point on, they stayed by each other's side even when living together at Eminem's mother's house. From that point until 1999, the two had a rocky and sort of toxic relationship, being an on and off again couple. In 1995, they had a daughter, and in 1999, the two ended up getting married. Their wedding took place on June 14th, 1999, just before Marshall's first major tour as his career was taking off. Kim said later on that this tour took the greatest toll on their marriage, saying, quote, "When Marshall's first tour started is when his ego just went poof, like he was God, that's what he thought. I was told that I should be grateful that he still talks to me. You know how many women throw themselves at him? And I just pretty much felt like a piece of crap." End quote. From then, their marriage went downhill as they were met with cheating scandals and mental health struggles. Eventually, they got a divorce in 2000, remarried in 2006, then divorced again, this time ending things for good. Because of how toxic things were between them, I guess it could be argued that Eminem was an awful partner. At number 2, Kim Kardashian and Damon Thomas. Before Kim Kardashian was ever with Kanye West or Kris Humphries, she was married to a man named Damon Thomas. Kim and Damon eloped in 2000 when Kim was 19, but their marriage only lasted until 2004. Damon was 10 years older than her, and Kim accused him of, quote, poisoning her against her friends and family, and that he urged her to drop out of college. Kim also said that he would be violent towards her. On top of that, she's also said that Damon encouraged her to get plastic surgery so that she would look perfect. On the flip side of this, Damon alleged that Kim was only accusing him of all that in an attempt to get more money out of him in the divorce settlement. Either way, it sounds like Kim went through a lot of negativity with him, and she certainly married an awful person. And finally, at number 1, Kathy Griffin and Matthew Modine. In a relationship, when trust is broken, it's very hard to rebuild it. That's why a lot of relationships and marriages crumble, and this is part of the reason why Kathy Griffin divorced her husband Matthew Modine in 2005. Kathy opened up about what broke their marriage when talking to Larry King, when she said, quote, "My ex-husband, without my knowledge, was sneaking into my wallet when I was asleep in the mornings and taking my ATM cards of my own private accounts and withdrawing money. He admitted it and apologized, and we went to couples therapy. I really wanted to make it work. Unfortunately, we were not able to get beyond the trust issue. To steal from your partner is super sketchy and makes you a pretty awful person, because not only are you breaking trust and being dishonest, but you're taking something away from this person who worked really hard to acquire it.
Starting off this countdown, we have Gigi Hadid and Zayn Malik. The history between these two is wild. They've been dating on and off for years. They started dating late 2015. They called it quits in March of 2018. 2 months later, they were spotted together again. In January of 2019, they announced that they broke up again. Zayn said that he had a lot of issues that Gigi just couldn't help him get through. A year later, it was announced that they were back together, and then they gave birth to their first child, Kai. A little while later, there was an incident between Zayn and Gigi's mom, Yolanda. She claims that he grabbed and shoved her into a dresser during a fight. She also claims that he yelled a number of profanities at her. She also said that Malik reportedly would yell at Gigi a number of times over the phone when he wasn't in the US. One thing he said on the phone to her was, I quote, "Strap on some effing balls and defend your partner against your effing mother in my house." Obviously, due to all this and more, Yolanda does not want Zayn in Gigi's life, let alone near Kai. So this whole thing is the definition of messy. In our 9th spot, we have Grimes and Elon Musk. After being together for 3 years, the pair called it quits in September of 2021. Apparently, this happened due to the fact that he was always traveling for his work at SpaceX and Tesla, whereas Grimes mainly works in LA. But apparently, for quite some time after their separation, Grimes and their baby were still living with Elon Musk. The two maintained that they were semi-separated but remained on good terms, which I don't think was always the case. Later, Grimes revealed that the two had gotten into an argument over their baby's name and fought days before she went into labor. Then in July, Musk tweeted out saying that pronouns suck, and Grimes did not like this at all. She replied, and I quote, "I love you, but please turn off your phone and give me a dial." She continued on saying, "I cannot support hate. Please stop this. I know this isn't your heart." She quickly deleted this reply, and Musk unfollowed her the next day. Moving on to number 8, we have Addison Rae and Bryce Hall. TikTok stars Addison Rae and Bryce Hall called it quits in March 2021. The pair began their romance in November of 2020. It wasn't long for the two to call it quits after Bryce Hall was suspected of cheating on Addison, although Bryce denied any of the claims. But this eventually led to the pair unfollowing each other on Instagram. Despite Bryce claiming that all the cheating allegations were false, he said that it drastically impacted their relationship. He said, and I quote, "I'll be honest, I broke up with her because I was completely stressed out with it all. I paid so much in lawyer fees to get all this bullshit off my plate." And even though Addison found a way to trust him again, it still put a lot of strain on their relationship. In our 7th spot, we have Tana Mongeau and Mod Sun. Seems like Tana Mongeau broke girl code after going after her ex-girlfriend's ex-boyfriend, Mod Sun. It's confusing, I know. She dated Bella Thorne, who dated Mod Sun previously, and apparently they were in like a polyamorous relationship. I don't really know. It's confusing. In 2019, Bella took to Twitter accusing Tana of breaking girl code. She never revealed what she did, but it seems like she was upset about Tana and Mod Sun dating. They kind of had a thing for a while, but stayed apart to avoid drama. Then Tana went on tour with Mod Sun just before the pandemic started. Shortly after, the two went to LA and quarantined together. Anyways, in August of 2021, in a podcast, Tana revealed why the pair broke up. And it wasn't because of the Bella drama. It was because of Tana's OnlyFans. In the podcast, she said, and I quote, "The literal, actual reason we broke up, we were doing perfectly fine as a couple, literally perfectly fine. And then I wanted to start an OnlyFans, and he wasn't. He was not down for it. That was sincerely the reason. I am not shaming him for this because I think obviously, like, let's say I were to talk to him about it in an hour, let's say we sit down, I think he would have seen what it is and what it's become, and become more accepting. But he was very much kind of, you're gonna become a star. And I was like, you've dated literal stars. So, yikes. That's all I gotta say to that one. Yikes. In our 6th spot today, we have Aaron Carter and Melanie Martin. This is another very rocky relationship. The pair started dating in January of 2020, and it's been messy ever since. A week after welcoming their first child together, Aaron announced that they had split. In a tweet, he said, "Due to personal reasons, Melanie Martin and I have decided to go our separate ways." He continued on saying, and I quote, there has been a very big lie, and my sister communicating with my ex-fiance ruined everything, considering she knew what Angel tried to do to me in court. Thanks, Angel, you ruined my family. So apparently Melanie was in talks with his estranged twin sister, Angel Carter, and he was not too happy about that. In another tweet, he said, and I quote, "I've never felt more devastated and betrayed and lied to in my entire life. This is such a horrible situation considering Prince doesn't deserve any of this, and now it's my job to just be a single father, and that's what's gonna happen." Not only that, but Carter posted on Instagram saying that he was trapped inside of his bedroom because Melanie wouldn't let him leave his house. In fact, because of everything that was going down, Child Protective Services actually showed up at their house. And of course, Carter had to go live on Instagram when they did. But then apparently a week later, the pair were back together, so I honestly don't know anymore. Are they still together? Are they broken up again? I don't know.
Number 5, Jessie Nelson and Jake Roche. When the former couple arrived together at the album release party for Little Mix's Get Weird in 2015, they were supposed to be in high spirits for the event. But the evening soon took a turn for the worst, as somehow it ended up with Jessie crying. It was reported that Jessie allegedly had a massive fight with her then fiance before she decided she had had enough and stormed out. A source told the Daily Mirror newspaper that the girls had been having a great night, drinking and even dancing on the tables the whole night until the early hours. But somewhere around the AM, Jessie and Jake had a tiff, and Jake stomped off to a nearby hotel, and Jessie was clearly sobbing and she took a cab home. The singer was spotted leaving the venue in London and hopping into a cab in the early hours of the morning with makeup smudged around her face and eyes bloodshot after the fight. The couple announced their split the following year, so it looked like in this case the fight may have been indicative of a larger issue in their relationship. According to reports, the reason they split was because Jessie wanted to start a family, but Jake, who was only 24, felt that he was too young to be a father and that they had the rest of their lives to have children. Number 4, Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. Their infamous on and off again relationship was definitely not free from arguments, and some of them were caught on camera. Right before Selena and Justin got on a plane to Paris, they got into a huge fight while at Princess Juliana International Airport in St. Martin, and unfortunately it looked like a massive one. In the video, we see Justin and Selena sitting in their car outside the airport in St. Martin before their Paris flight. Selena storms out of the car, walks into the airport by herself and throws her bag on the floor. Justin didn't immediately follow her, instead he chose to sit in the car for a little bit, which probably made her even more mad. When he did enter a few minutes later, she was chatting with a fan that had a baby, and Justin came over and they silently walked to their flight. You could tell both of them were equally frustrated, but in 2014, this was only one of the many public fights that the couple would go on to have. In fact, after their romantic trip, they went to Paris Fashion Week, which led to more arguing because Justin reportedly went to dinner with Kendall Jenner and partied with her at the same party that Selena was at. She flew out the next morning alone, leaving Justin in Paris, and then deleted him off Instagram. Number 3, Johnny McGade and Courtney Cox. These two are also known for their on-again, off-again relationship, and after getting back together once again after a brief split, the actress and her musician boyfriend were seen arguing outside a West London restaurant and appeared to be exchanging heated words as they dined outside during Courtney's visit to the British capital. In one shot, the former Friends actress can be seen waving her arms and phone in front of Johnny's face, while in another she looks frustrated as she held her head in her hands. Not long after, she gave her then fiance the silent treatment before getting to her feet to leave the restaurant. For some background, the pair have been engaged, unengaged, and living separately for the majority of their relationship, even though they've been together for 7 years. And so this argument really fueled rumors of more relationship problems. The argument was reportedly about the couple planning their nuptials when they started fighting about the finer details, and insiders told reporters that the couple couldn't agree where they would live, as Johnny supposedly wanted to move back to the UK and Courtney wanted to remain in LA. Number 2, Christopher Hivju and Guy Mulvere. If you forget about Season 8, Game of Thrones was really an epic TV series that took over the world as soon as Season 1 hit and made several of its stars household names. Norwegian actor Christopher was one of the stars who appeared in the series over the years, but it was his public fight with his wife, Guy, who is a photographer, that really got people talking. They say that redheads are known for their temper temper, so it seems like these two are really perfect for each other. The couple were spotted having a heated argument as they were shopping in Los Angeles, as Grey had reportedly been looking for a new dress. No one really knows what the fight was about, but onlookers claimed that their argument lasted for over an hour and escalated very quickly. During the fight, you can see the actor raises his hands in the air in frustration, while his wife, who looks incredibly distraught, has her eyes to the ground the whole time. The fight continued before they both stormed off. Just goes to show you how celebrities are normal people too. Number 1. Shia LaBeouf and Carolyn Foe. Yes, he's back on the list because the actor has a seriously extensive track record of public spats. Shia LaBeouf is fairly well known for his outlandish behavior, where he frequently just takes it way too far by getting kicked out of a performance of Cabaret or being arrested for public drunkenness in 2017. But this fight dates back to 2012 when he and his then girlfriend Carolyn were caught fighting on camera and having a tearful exchange on the side of the road in LA. It was then that rumors started circulating about the extent of Shia's involvement in the sex scenes in Lars von Trier's Nymphomaniac, which were reportedly real. So naturally his girlfriend would be upset. She did not seem too thrilled that her actor boyfriend Shia had shared an intimate scene with his co-star in the movie. But Carolyn was pretty quick to deny the fight, telling the New York Daily News, quote, "It's none of anybody's business. Everything is fine with us. It was nothing affiliated with this movie." Although that might be true, clearly something had caused the couple to have a public screaming match on the side of the road in broad daylight. And just like that, in November the same year, the couple had officially decided to split.
At number 10, Johnny Depp. Amber Heard got exposed in 2021, but not for what you might think. In 2020, we saw Amber in the news for being exposed for being a horrible person in her relationship with Johnny Depp, but last year we saw her getting exposed for lying. As some of you may recall, when Johnny and Amber first divorced, they reached a settlement of about $7 million to be paid to Amber, and when she received that money, she claimed that she would split the money and donate it to two charities, the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles and the American Civil Liberties Union. Now, Johnny Depp has called her out for lying about donating the money and claims that she just pocketed most of it. Though Johnny's lawyers tried speaking with the ACLU about Amber's donation, they never made a comment, but the Children's Hospital said that the donation that they received from Amber was a total of $100,000, much less than the $3.5 million that she promised them. At number 9, Anna Faris. During an episode of Anna Faris' podcast, she sat down with actress Gwyneth Paltrow and had a conversation about marriage. Anna asked Gwyneth if her, quote, taste in partners has changed throughout the decades of her life, to which she replied that her new partner is different in the sense that he helps her be more honest with herself. Anna replied saying that she never had that sense of honesty in her previous marriage to Chris Pratt. She then went on to essentially expose him for the way things were in their marriage and how this lack of emotional honesty caused, quote, competitiveness and comparison in the relationship. Chris and Anna had been together for 9 years before divorcing in 2017, and though there isn't much information about why they broke up, there is speculation, and Anna's comments about emotions and honesty between partners may add to fans' interpretations of their marriage. Before we carry on talking about the celebrities who've exposed their past partners, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer had quite an eventful year last year for all the wrong reasons. Just a quick recap of this scandal, Armie was exposed in January of last year for his unorthodox bedroom fantasies such as eating people and sexual non-consent. As a result of this, Armie lost work, having been dropped from 2 film projects, and he's also been dropped by his talent agency and publicist. After that, Armie started being investigated by the LAPD for an alleged incident that could potentially see him serving jail time if found guilty. This has all come out because a woman who claimed to have been romantically involved with Armie alleged that he forced himself upon her without her consent. This woman, known as Effie, gave a statement saying that she was harmed by him on a mental, physical, and emotional level during her on and off relationship with the actor, and that she was subjected to unwanted relations with him for over 4 hours. He was once again exposed for his actions, this time on a more severe level, as he now faces potential legal repercussions. At number 7, Joe Exotic. After the success of the Tiger King documentary on Netflix in 2020, Joe Exotic became something of a celebrity for a hot second. He really became more of a meme for a while, but news sources were still reporting on his life developments as though he were still any other public figure. In fact, they are still reporting on his life from time to time, especially after his ex-husband exposed him. Joe's ex-husband John Finley came forward to talk about his relationship with the now imprisoned Big Cat owner and expose his marriage to him, revealing that it was all fake. John said that his whole marriage was just for Joe's popularity, remarking that the wedding that was shown in the documentary, which showed him, Joe, and Travis Maldonado, was all, quote, basically a publicity stunt so Joe could get his own reality TV series. John has also said that he's since moved on with a woman and is trying to forget his past with Joe, which is a bit difficult for him since he is still carrying around tattoos of Joe's name, which he says will be covered up in the future. At number 6, Kenya Duke. After nearly 20 years of marriage, it was all over in an instant. Kenya Duke, wife of Gary Owens, filed for divorce in March this year, making allegations that her husband had been unfaithful in their marriage. After news broke of their divorce filing, Kenya took to her Instagram to expose her husband for having an affair with a woman from Dallas, someone who was a mutual friend with Gary and reality TV star Claudia Jordan. In her now deleted Instagram post, Kenya sent a message to the other woman, whom she calls Dallas, Texas, saying, quote, Dallas, Texas, I have your info. I'm going to deal with you in a minute. I'm a little busy now. You can have him, but you can't disrespect me and my kids in the process. At Gary Owen Comedy, let her know a storm is coming. You should know better. Married, not separated. Married. End quote. Kenya also followed this message up with one that was meant for her husband, where she said, quote, all the energy you spent lying, acting, and creating a fake narrative for these women that want to be me, you could have done it with a veggie burger and a glass of fake filtered water. End quote. To make matters messier, Claudia Jordan, who was allegedly mutual friends with Gary's mistress, took to her social media to clear her name in the scandal, saying that she doesn't have a friend from Dallas, implying that she doesn't know who this other woman is and that she was not aware of any affair that Gary had been having.
Halfway through at number 5 is Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. Their relationship is famous for being on and off again, and we all know that any relationship that is known for that is probably a toxic one. Their relationship was a fairy tale love story at first, and many fans thought they were going to be together forever. I legit thought they were going to get married. But they were on and off for a total of 6 years, which is a long time for two people to try and figure out if they were going to work or not. People were surprised to see them spending time together in paparazzi photos, and the two of them were apparently trying to make things work. But then, just a few months later, bam, Justin Bieber is married to Hailey Baldwin. That is when Selena Gomez released a single called Lose You to Love Me, where her lyrics talk about their past relationship, where she said he moved on and replaced her in 2 months. So people are pretty positive that she was referring to his marriage with Hailey. Justin seems really happy and in love with his new wife, and Selena is healthy and happy living on her own, as far as we know. At number 4 is Kourtney Kardashian and Scott Disick. I have 3 Kardashians on this list, and I don't know if that is a good thing or not. Anyone who followed the series Keeping Up with the Kardashians would have seen the ins and outs of their relationship, which was filled with a lot of highs, but also a lot of lows. They started dating back in 2006 after they met at a house party. They dated for almost 10 years, and during that time they welcomed 3 children into their life. But throughout these years, Scott was struggling with an alcohol addiction and was often accused of being unfaithful. It wasn't until 2015, when he was caught in a cheating scandal, that Kourtney finally called it quits and they went their separate ways. They both went on to date other people, but there were times when they were trying to see if they could make it work, but it just wasn't. In recent times, rumors are saying that they might be back together right now, or they're at least trying to be, but nothing has been confirmed. It is a lot of on and off, and we can only imagine how hard that is for the kids, especially because they've dated other people, so they're just bringing other people into the kids' lives, you know? Could be a very messy situation. In the 3rd spot is Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. I think their $100 million lawsuit is enough proof that their relationship is a toxic one. We have learned a lot about the relationship because of it, with each of them bringing forth different evidence against the other, most of their claims being pretty disturbing. Some of their claims have involved domestic violence, alcohol addiction, substance abuse, and apparently Amber pooping on their bed as a funny prank. The lawsuit has been going on for years, and it keeps getting more toxic as time goes on.
Amber's reputation has been completely destroyed online, and now she's wanting to sue Johnny and his legal team, claiming that they hired bot accounts to attack her social media pages. The court dates are also now affecting Johnny's film schedule, which he signed a legal contract for, so he might end up in a Warner Brothers lawsuit by the end of all of this. Taking over the second place spot is Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee. The Baywatch star was only married to him from 1995 to 1998, but during their brief relationship, things were less than ideal for them. At the time, they were a rock and roll love story for all ages. They both admit that it was love at first sight for them, but their relationship was a dramatic roller coaster that came crashing down. Despite the issues, they had 2 kids together, which Pamela said was a decision that they made out of true love at that time. But she also admitted that Tommy had often mistreated her and that the relationship was very dark, so they decided to split after just a couple years. Their split caused issues down the road, with their sons feeling torn between them. In March 2018, one of their sons, Brandon, allegedly punched Tommy in the face and knocked him unconscious after he posted a derogatory tweet about his mom. So the family dynamic was very toxic even after the relationship came to an end. Brandon was in the recent The Hills reboot reality series, and he talked about his parents, and he also revealed that he and his dad have been working on their relationship. We've made it to number 1, and we have Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. One of the biggest love stories of all time, but mainly because there's always been a lot of controversy surrounding their relationship. They got married on February 24th, 1992, just 2 years prior to Kurt's tragic death. They were only dating for months before they decided to tie the knot. But then the tragic news broke that Kurt was found dead in his Seattle home with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Reports say that the relationship was a lot more toxic than anyone knew, and that Courtney was the one who introduced heroin to him, which was the start of a very self-destructive lifestyle and relationship. Many people have come up with the theory that she actually had something to do with his death. She claims that all he wanted to do was play his guitar at home and do heroin, and that he had attempted suicide on more than one occasion. But others think that it was part of her plan because she was given more than $50 million after getting a stake in the publishing rights of Nirvana's music.
At number 9, Tiger Woods and Ellen Norgren. One of the most famous cheating scandals from pro golfer Tiger Woods in 2009 shattered his golden boy image and made him look like an awful person. It all started with a car crash. Tiger had crashed his Cadillac into a fire hydrant, and this incident made headlines, but it also drew attention to another headline that he had made days earlier after tabloids published a story alleging that Tiger was having an affair with a nightclub manager. Soon, one alleged affair turned into many more, as 6 women ended up coming forward, saying that they had also had intimate relationships with the golfer. His wife was understandably furious to find out about all of her husband's affairs, and their marriage was ruined after that. I'm sure she no doubt regretted ever marrying such an awful person in the first place. Before we continue talking about celebrities who made horrible marriage decisions, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video to help support the channel, and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver. Actor and former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, was caught in a very messy and high-profile cheating scandal that not only brought life into the world but ruined relationships and turned him into an awful person. In 1997, Arnold had an affair with the family's former housekeeper Patty, and she soon became pregnant with his son. At the very same time, Arnold's wife was also expecting their 4th kid. As if the universe wanted to make things extra chaotic for Arnold, both his wife and mistress ended up giving birth within 5 days of each other, though they wouldn't know about one another until about a decade later. But much like all secrets, they come out eventually, and Arnold ended up coming clean to his wife about his affair in 2007. This information wasn't immediately shared with the public until 2011, where things blew up. Arnold revealed his infidelity to the public after announcing that he and his wife Maria were separating, while also revealing the truth about his kid with his mistress. This wasn't fair to Arnold's wife nor his mistress because this secret really blew up their lives, and it affected their kids too, so Maria certainly married someone awful. At number 6, David Letterman and Regina Lasko. When people are having an affair, they become very secretive as to not get caught, but in most cases, cheaters are almost always exposed, so people can see what a horrible person this cheater is. This is what happened with David Letterman, as someone caught wind of his scandalous extramarital entanglements. In October 2009, on his late-night talk show, David Letterman got serious with his audience, and he exposed his affair and revealed to the public that he had been intimately involved with someone from the studio. He also revealed that this revelation he is sharing was because someone was threatening to blackmail him for $2 million. He said that one day he found a mysterious package sitting in his car, and it included proof of his affair and a demand to be paid in order to keep things quiet. quiet. He said that if he didn't pay up, his blackmailer would reveal his secrets to the public, but rather than get swallowed up in the scandal, he faced it head on. Soon details of his affairs started to come to light, detailing how he had slept with women who worked for him at the studio. He was married at the time of this scandal and remains so to this day. The couple were able to work through things, but David is still an awful person for cheating on his spouse.
We've made it halfway through the countdown and we have Jessie Nelson and Jake Rosh. Jessie was having the time of her life while at the release party for her girl group Little Mix. They were releasing their album called Get Weird, but by the end of the party she was left in tears after a huge fight with her fiance. They got into a heated argument during the event, causing Jake to leave and Jessie sitting in a car with mascara running down her face. The end of the argument was caught on camera because tons of paparazzi were there for the event, and Jessie had a breakdown right in front of them. Turns out that Jake went to a local hotel alone and she took a cab back to her hotel. But it seemed like they were able to shake it off very quickly because hours into the next morning they posted this affectionate photo on social media. To me, honestly, it just feels like a cover-up. I feel like people post a happy picture after an argument to like confirm like we're okay when they're not. Rolling into number 4 is Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. It's hard to forget the constant on and off relationship they once had for many years. They started dating when they were young, so we could make more excuses that time around, but then they tried to rekindle the flame in 2012. TMZ reported that they went out on a dinner date and Selena left just 10 minutes in because of something Justin said, and when he tried to go to her house later, apparently she refused to let him in. Then, in 2014, they got into a public argument at an airport and she was seen stomping out of a van and throwing her purse on the ground. Justin refused to get out of the car for some time and they went through the airport separately. It's safe to say that it might be for the best that they didn't end up together, even though a lot of fans were really rooting for them. I was. At one point. In the 3rd spot is Beyonce and Jay-Z. They seem to have successfully pulled through a rough patch in their marriage after Jay-Z admitted to cheating on her. But there was a time when people thought they were not gonna make it after pictures were surfacing of them fighting in public during a dinner. But these pictures came right after an infamous elevator fight between Jay-Z and Beyonce's sister, which was all caught on camera. The surveillance footage from an elevator captured her sister physically attacking Jay-Z, and fans thought it was about the cheating scandal that had gone on. The whole thing was really intense and it actually caused a lot of chaos in the media and in their marriage, I'm sure. Beyonce released her album Lemonade shortly after all of this, which basically confirmed the affair publicly and how they chose to work through it. Sniping number 2 on our list is Emma Roberts and Evan Peters. I never followed this couple much, but everything I did see of them in the media was always bad, so I just knew of them for being very toxic. They were together for a long time. They started dating after they met on set in 2012, and only a year into the relationship, Emma was arrested on domestic battery charges. A fight broke out between them and it resulted in Evan getting a bloody nose. Camera caught them having a brutal argument at a Comic-Con party in 2014 where Emma was crying and screaming at Evan in the midst of a large group of people. Then, down the road in 2017, there were cheating rumors going around about Emma with another actor, Hayden Christensen, and they were spotted fighting again in public. Honestly, there's just way too many fights to name, but domestic charges is enough to land them on this list. Finally, at number 1, we have Chris Brown and Rihanna. If you already know the story between them, then you would understand why they are taking number 1 on this list. I mean, what a nightmare that whole thing was. At one point, they were one of the cutest couples in Hollywood, but then things went horribly wrong when Chris laid his hands on Rihanna, causing injuries both physically and mentally. People will never forget the fight between them that happened at the Grammys in 2009 when they had a screaming match inside a rented car, which ended up turning violent. Photos of her battered face went viral, and Chris was later charged with assault. Even after the fight, they did continue to date, which really surprised people. They were on and off between 2012 and 2013, but then they finally realized that they could not maintain a healthy relationship.
At number 10, we have jumping on Oprah's sofa. So when Tom Cruise was caught jumping on Oprah's sofa, it had to be one of the most arrogant incidents to ever happen in Hollywood. In 2005, in his interview with Oprah, the episode would become one of the most bizarre public displays of affection we have ever seen. Now, Tom would only appear on the show to promote his role in the film War of the Worlds. However, people would quickly forget about the film entirely after he went on to declare his love for Katie Holmes. Tom would then be seen acting manically as he began to jump up and down on Oprah's furniture while screaming, "I'm in love, I'm in love. It's one of these things where you want to be cool, like yeah, I like her. That's how I feel." However, while the star wanted to look cool, he definitely didn't in this situation. And number 9, stunt gone wrong. So in the acting world, Tom is well known for performing his own stunts, and some of his stunts he's performed, not even a stunt devil would do the same thing. With the Mission Impossible franchise providing a wealth of opportunities for him to indulge in his inner daredevil, like the moment he clung to the outside of a plane when it took off, the film definitely took a toll on him because not only was he launched into the air tied to the outside of an airplane, however, he also had to scale the world's tallest building. However, in the 6th Mission Impossible series, Tom would actually end up performing a stunt after insisting he could do it, and he ended up breaking his ankle in the process. When the actor was meant to hit the side of the wall and pull himself up and over the edge, he made the mistake of hitting the wall with his foot, and he knew instantly his ankle was broken. If Tom didn't let his arrogance get the best of him, this whole situation could have been avoided if he just let the stunt devil do his job. Hey Peaches, are you enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And number 8, Scientology video. Tom Cruise is a member of the Church of Scientology, and this has been a well-known fact known by the public for years. Although his involvement with the church has been pretty controversial over the last couple of years, many of us are surprised when the church released a promotional video onto the internet back in 2008, and it featured Tom Cruise. The 9-minute video would show Tom discussing his beliefs while the theme of his Mission Impossible films played in the background. The video format appeared to be an interview with Cruise, and it was edited so viewers couldn't hear the questions being asked, and some of Cruise's responses even ended up abruptly. His strange, intense, and strong delivery as he discussed the benefits of Scientology left us all appropriately bewildered. It was just such an arrogant moment because it's never right to preach about any type of religion anywhere, and while the star can study and believe what he wants to believe, he definitely should have known better. And number 7, the Matt Lauer interview. Another one of Tom Cruise's most arrogant moments caught on camera when he clashed with Matt Lauer on the Today Show, and the whole interview got pretty heated. In June of 2020, Brooke Shields would lash out at Cruise, who on Access Hollywood called her irresponsible for using medication to help her combat her battle with depression. Tom would sit down with Matt and he became pretty defensive. Matt then took a few moments to devote the interview to the film before diving into Tom's relationship with Katie, Scientology, and ultimately then brought up the Brooke Shields dust-up. Cruise would then go on to call Matt a glib and would go on to a rant to defend Scientology and their anti-psychiatry stance. After the interview, Tom would also later admit that his conduct in the interview came across as arrogant because honestly, it pretty much did. And number 6, the water prank. Though Tom Cruise has been given a few outrageous interviews, he probably can be excused for being a little peeved with Channel 4 during a red carpet encounter that happened in 2005 after the interviewer decided to play a prank on the actor by spraying Tom in the face with a small jet of water. Tom would then be furious and go on to say, "That's incredibly rude. I'm here giving you an interview." Tom would then continue to go on and would call the interviewer a jerk. Later, a clip of the interview would then begin to circulate online, and fans were quick to call out Tom's arrogance. After it was reported, he got police involved over the harmless incident. Channel 4 would then come out to issue an apology to Tom over the stunt. Channel 4 would come out to say, "The stunt was intended to be lighthearted rather than malicious, and we would like to apologize to Mr. Cruise for any offense that was caused."
Number 5. Rihanna and Hassan Jamil. The former couple seemed like they were perfect for each other after rumors swirled that the two were engaged in 2017. Although they managed to keep their relationship very private and didn't post many photos together on social media, photos emerged of the two on a trip to Mexico in 2018 that left many fans wondering if they were done for good. The paparazzi captured photos that painted a picture of Rihanna screaming at her former billionaire boyfriend and angrily pointing her finger finger at him while they were on the poolside. What's interesting about the photos is that in comparison to Rihanna, Jamil looked very calm and almost passive in the argument, which made the whole thing go viral. Because of all the noise online, the singer took to Instagram and posted a meme of a female lion roaring at a male lion with the caption, quote, "When you think you know more about soccer, hashtag World Cup 2018. But even though she had a good sense of humor about the fight, the couple still ended up splitting up in 2020 because allegedly their lives were just too different and it was too hard to maintain a relationship. Number 4, Nicholas Hoult and Jennifer Lawrence. The couple fell in love with each other when they first met on the set of the X-Men movie series and became co-stars. Jennifer played Mystique and Nicholas portrayed Beast. It all seemed to be going well for the pair until they suddenly split in 2014 after dating for nearly 5 years. They did have a really public fight, however, when they were once spotted arguing during a dinner. According to reports, the former couple was at a restaurant together when they started really getting into it. Witnesses claim that the actress was upset about something and even threw her hands into the air at one point. Nicholas apparently also got very frustrated as he started shouting at her. Jennifer had apparently had enough with him and broke down as he stormed out of the restaurant. Seems like it was a bit of a mess, but it's great that the former couple have since been able to move on with their respective partners. Number 3, Simon Cowell and Lauren Silverman. This was not just one explosive fight, but actually several. The lid was really blown off the couple's relationship problems when paparazzi captured photos of them in March last year having a tense argument while walking with their son Eric. According to The Sun, passerbys noticed that the X Factor judge had a face like thunder, and their arguing was so loud almost everyone could hear them. In fact, it was reportedly so bad that Lauren got fed up and had to walk away from Simon, while the former American Idol judge decided to cross the road to the other side to put some distance between them, and he walked the rest of the way on the other side of the street. But that wasn't the first time that the pair had a fight in public. In fact, back in 2013, the couple were seen shouting at each other inside a car in New York City. They were even photographed in the middle of an altercation while sitting in the back of an SBU in broad daylight with their windows down. Simon had his hands in the air and Lauren looked like she was crying. I guess it goes to show you that celebrities really are just normal people. Number 2, Beyonce and Jay-Z. Yes, I'm about to talk about the infamous sushi fight. So in 2016, the paparazzi caught the power couple dining at a sushi park restaurant in LA. And from the photos which surfaced online, we can tell that they really got into it. It showed them having anything but a pleasant sushi date. Beyonce was yelling and waving her finger at Jay-Z while he looked like he was glued to his phone the whole time. They say that it's rude to use your phone at dinner, but even worse, he just seems like he wasn't listening to her at all. The truth is, we'll never know what started the public argument, but it wasn't the first intense fight that they've ever been in. This all took place 2 years after the bizarre elevator fight at the 2014 Met Gala between Jay-Z and Beyonce's sister Solange, when she started attacking him by punching and kicking him in an elevator, all while the bodyguards eventually had to restrain her. It was really quite funny because Beyonce was just standing there and watching it all unfold. The 3 artists did make a joint statement about the incident, which read, quote, "They both have apologized to each other and we have moved forward as a united family." And coming in at number 1, Shia LaBeouf and Mia Goth. The controversial actor Shia LaBeouf has had some seriously messed up allegations brought against him in recent years, but this fight was just so bizarre that it deserves a place on the list. The actor and his former longtime girlfriend Mia Goth, who has recently starred in the horror movie X, got into a heated altercation in Germany in 2015 that was all captured on video. The argument occurred on the streets and got so bad that a few locals had to intervene. Shia was heard shouting, quote, "I don't want to touch a woman, I don't want to hit a woman, but I'm being pushed." He then got into a random person's car and had them drive him to the airport. He later told that same person that if he had stayed there, then he would have taken her life. but they seem to have made up after the fight and even got married in 2016 in Las Vegas, only to split up 2 years later. The relationship was probably a complicated one because in 2020, People magazine reported that the pair was spotted together wearing wedding rings. Hopefully they parted for good because they seem to be extremely toxic together.
Starting off our list at number 10 today, we have Beyonce and Jay-Z. Back in January of 2015, Beyonce and Jay-Z had anything but a quiet sushi night as the megastar couple was captured getting into it at Sushi Park restaurant in Los Angeles. In released photos, Beyonce could be seen yelling at her husband. And later, OK Magazine would then speculate that the altercation happened because Jay-Z's non-stop cell phone use during dinner. However, like many mysteries and the fact that the couple usually tends to keep their private life, pretty private, no one can say for sure what the two may have been arguing about. However, this wouldn't be the couple's first public fight since back in 2014, the couple had an infamous elevator incident that first brought potential difficulties in their relationship to light, and both have explored marital conflict in their albums 444 and Lemonade respectively. But it seems like all is well now as they continue to gush about each other in interviews, and back in 2017, Jay-Z also said he was really proud of the art Beyonce was releasing, and he also noted that she was amazing. Coming in number 9, Emma Roberts and Evan Peters. Just before Emma Roberts and Evan Peters split for good, the American Horror Story co-stars in 2013 were caught on camera while they had a pretty serious physical fight. While it may have seemed at the time that the two were actually a perfect couple in Hollywood, it was anything but perfect. When the two stars started to make headlines after they had a pretty public fight in Montreal, the New York Daily News would then report that the Montreal police had to attend to the scene after people called in a domestic situation. When the police showed up to the couple's hotel room, they would find Evan with a handful of injuries, which included a bloody nose and a bite mark. The police then opted to arrest Emma on the scene, even after Evan chose not to file charges against her. Although Emma was released, the paparazzi would then capture her breaking down when she learned the news had reached the media. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in number 8, Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth. When Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth posed at the LA premiere of the Avengers Endgame in 2019, their red carpet smiles didn't last too long, as the two widely displayed their different styles and tensions between them were pretty palpable. When Miley couldn't stop talking about how she wanted to let her hair down and have a crazy fun night out, Liam was there to support his brother Chris and was hoping to have a fairly chilled evening. And it appears neither of them would end up leaving the red carpet happy at the end of the night, as Miley did Miley, as she was seen vamping it up for photographers, and her Aussie actor hubby at the time grew increasingly uncomfortable, resulting in the famous duo getting into their first major fight as a married couple. And you could even see Liam at one point on the red carpet telling Miley to behave. After the two then walked off the red carpet, Liam would then angrily accuse Miley of turning the premiere into the Miley show, and once the couple got home, a source would then reveal that they got into a big fat argument. And then jump to the day, Miley wrote a song called Flowers that highlights their relationship and how it was never perfect. And it's been number 1 on the billboards for the last 3 weeks, and she even took a jab at Liam in the music video by wearing the suit he wore that night on the red carpet. At number 7, we have Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck. Before Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck decided to go their separate ways, the world was pretty shocked to learn that their marriage was anything but perfect. While there were plenty of rumors in 2015 that suggested Ben had been unfaithful in their marriage with the family's former nanny, after the couple returned home from vacation, a fight would break out shortly after, and this is when they dropped their 3 children off at school. Onlookers would then tell In Touch that Jennifer and Ben were in their SUV when things started to get a little out of hand. They even started to claim that there was lots of gesturing through it all, and the photos and videos captured, you could see Jennifer crying. This is when people started to believe that Ben was making it clear that their marriage was over and that he was going forward with the divorce. Number 6, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. At one point in time, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt were Hollywood Hollywood's it couple, and you couldn't turn around without seeing them mentioned somewhere in the street. But it seems like after the couple filed for divorce and went their separate ways, they have been hitting headlines for some pretty serious accusations. Before the couple ultimately decided to part ways, they would be spotted at Legoland in Windsor, and they would be spotted coming off this ride with their children, and the couple could be seen getting into a pretty serious argument where Brad would be shown touching Angelina's arm before she pulled away and decided to shout in the actor's face while they were in public. The people who captured the photos then said they saw the couple again later, and they looked like they were still arguing sometime later. Number 5, Amber Heard. With Amber Heard embracing the next chapter of her life following the defamation court battle with her ex-husband Johnny Depp, we all should have known after she had a breakdown in the courtroom trying to win the trial that she would make a huge fuss about the trial after she lost. With Amber calling the verdict a setback for women and that she was scared it will mean more silence for survivors looking to come forward, with the actress finally admitting that she did do and say horrible, regrettable things throughout the relationship, I don't think any of us were surprised when Amber ended up breaking down on the stand as she was trying everything she could to win the trial. When Amber returned to the witness stand to testify against Johnny, she would cry as she tried to paint a narrative that she had to relive trauma every single day. With Johnny suing Amber for $50 million, she was bound to try anything to get out of it. And even with the pair recently settling, Amber has still gone on to break down in an attempt to defend her fake truth. Number 4, Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller has recently gone through an intense crisis that has been broadcasted all over the media. However, since he stepped onto the scene with his first breakout role in 2012, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, his career has been overshadowed by numerous public controversies. That should have been an indicator that their breakdown was coming anytime soon, with his aggressive and odd behavior taking an all-time high in 2022. Their overall breakdown shouldn't have been so shocking to most. After being issued restraining orders and countless arrests this year alone, Ezra would even say that they now understand that they are suffering from a complex mental health issue and that they would enter into ongoing treatment to help them deal with it. With the actor acknowledging their behavior, they still continue to claim to be not guilty. With a series of scandals picking up, we're only going to see Ezra's career spiral more out of control, and their breakdowns are only going to get more frequent if they remain in the public's eye. With The Flash being set to open up in theaters on June 23rd, 2023, they haven't received any consequences for their actions, which could result in some serious trouble later. And number 3, we have Pete Davidson. Taking care of himself, Pete Davidson is undergoing trauma therapy following Kanye West's threatening social media post after the comedian has had a brief relationship with Kim Kardashian. After Pete made the decision to split ways with Kim, he decided to seek treatment after he was breaking down over the violent post Kanye was sharing over the course of Pete's and Kim's relationship. After calling it quits less than a year of being together, it wasn't really shocking that Pete would have a breakdown over Kanye's actions. With Kanye constantly attacking Pete through his social media posts, Kanye's obsession with trying to control and manipulate the situation had a huge negative effect on Pete. And it's really sad when you think about it. With Pete and Kim wanting nothing more but a quiet, healthy relationship, Kanye made it really hard on them. For the longest time, Pete even tried to make us all believe that he was finding Kanye's pranks hilarious, but none of us really believed him. While the actor was trying to downplay the impact of the messages he was receiving from Kanye, he tried to play it off that he just felt sorry for Kanye. However, at the same time, he just wished Kanye would stop and leave him alone because all the stress he was causing on Pete wasn't good for his mental health, and it actually caused his mental health to deteriorate. And number 2, Aaron Carter. While Aaron Carter's passing came to a shock to many of his fans, the breakdowns he had over 2022 should have been an indicator that something really concerning was going on. Just days before Aaron passed away, he would go live on his social media accounts where he would cry reading a message from his fiancée Melanie. which stated that he was going to pass away really soon. With the words clearly upsetting Aaron, the text from Melanie was a cry for him to stop huffing on Instagram, as many of his fans allege that's what they saw him doing in the past few videos he was posting. While Melanie was trying to address her concerns that it wasn't safe and all she wanted for Aaron to do was to not do this to himself, with Aaron posting many concerning videos on his live stream and posts, fans would sometimes voice their own concerns. With one fan writing, "I was watching his IG live the other day thinking this guy needs help as soon as possible." With the countless amounts of welfare checks being called on Aaron and the videos posted to his page where he expressed his love for his estranged siblings, should have been signs that showed us Aaron needed help and he was begging for help, and we all just ignored his pleas. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Justin Bieber. During an interview with Apple Music shared with People, Justin would open up about his mental health journey and some of the hardest truths surrounding his marriage, and what he's been forced to face since getting married. With it all being a journey, Justin remembers when he first got married, he thought it was going to fix all of his problems, and he would later realize that it didn't. It was just a reflection that made him realize that he was a hypocrite. Justin would note he wanted his wife to do things that he wasn't going to do. He went on to note that he wasn't the man he thought he was going to be, and it just caused him to experience a lot of trauma surrounding his life circumstances. With Bieber also suffering from Ramsay Hunt syndrome, this year he also had to learn how to handle his health scares. With both Justin and his wife going through some serious health issues this year, they've been trying to combat their mental health together. But with it, both have had to face some challenges that haven't always been kind on their mental health. With getting married so young, the couples had to face so many challenges, and not all of them have been easy. And that's not really surprising that Justin has been pretty open about his marriage and his breakdowns over the last couple of years.
Starting us off at number 10 is Pete Davidson and Ariana Grande. Their relationship was a whirlwind and lasted less than 6 months total. Many people said they were taking things too far when they announced their engagement shortly after they started dating back in May 2018. Reports say it was exactly 24 days after they started officially dating. They were over the top with their engagement in the media, flaunting the news and doing televised interviews about it. They were just an over-the-top couple in general. Like the one time they caused a scene on the red carpet and ran away from the cameras. I don't know if you guys remember that. But the two of them split not long after their engagement because news broke that Ariana Grande's ex-boyfriend Mac Miller had passed away. Since then, she's gone on to make jokes about their engagement in her lyrics, and he's made jokes about her in his comedy Netflix special. So, coming in next, number 9 is Sammy Sweetheart and Ronnie. Anyone who watched Jersey Shore knew how toxic these two were for each other, and their fights were too far pretty much every time. Before entering the Jersey Shore house, Ronnie said he had one rule, and that was to never fall in love at the Jersey Shore. But then he met Sammy and they quickly hooked up and started dating. It took no time at all for them to have a very hot and cold relationship. With a mix of alcohol, the temptation of other people, and 5 other roommates in the house, the two of them were always down each other's throats. Things got so bad that one fight led to Ronnie completely destroying her things and physically breaking her bed, trying to throw it off the top deck, and Sam was on it, like holding on for her life like a spider monkey. Basically all her stuff was completely ruined. And because of their past relationship and how toxic it was, Sammy is the only housemate that has not returned to do the reboot series, which happened 6 years after that. Swiping the number 8 spot is Shia LaBeouf and Mia Goth. In the last 8 years, they've been on and off on numerous occasions with some pretty nasty splits. They were even married at one point, but then got divorced, and after being apart for 2 years, they came back together just a few months ago. To say their fights were bad is an understatement, and the only reason we know this is because one of them was caught on camera. In 2015, a year before their wedding, they had a huge fight in Germany, and the video footage of the argument went viral online. Some fans were there when it happened and filmed the entire thing, and then stayed with Shia after Mia left in a cab. Shia said to the people on camera if he didn't walk away when he did, then he would have killed her. Later in the video, he even talked to the fans about purchasing a gun in Germany. It was honestly scary stuff, you guys. After I watched the footage, I was like, this is not something to joke about. However, this was all around the time that he was going through an alcohol addiction and also had multiple run-ins with the law. But they are back together, so let's hope that it's different this time around. best of luck. In spot number 7 is Courtney Cox and Johnny McDade. They first started dating in 2014 and were engaged just 6 months later before they called it off in 2015. So a lot happened in just 1 year. Some would say that getting engaged that soon and ending it that quickly after is already too far for a couple. But then they got back together the following year in 2016 and they have been together ever since. But shortly after they rekindled the relationship, the paparazzi caught them on different occasions fighting in public. One time a heated argument was caught while they were at a restaurant in West London. Every couple fights, let's be honest, but there seems to be a lot of on and off between them throughout the relationship. It just doesn't feel very certain. People have also wondered why they haven't gotten re-engaged by now or even married if things are going strong this time, because they've been together for a few years now. 4 years. Again, like after the first thing. We're moving on to number 6 and we have Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries. Before Kanye West and Kim took over the media, Kim was once married to Kris Humphries for a whopping 72 days. We got to see a closer look at their relationship because everything was filmed for their reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. They were often spotted fighting. Even just before Kim filed for a divorce, the paparazzi caught them fighting and having a huge argument in a car in LA. She yelled at him and left him to find his own ride home. Footage from her reality show Kim and Kourtney Take New York also showed footage of Kim punching Kris. She described it as playful banter, but others started to deem it as domestic violence and she faced a ton of backlash for it.
Number 5. Rihanna and Hassan Jameel. The former couple seemed like they were perfect for each other after rumors swirled that the two were engaged in 2017. Although they managed to keep their relationship very private and didn't post many photos together on social media, photos emerged of the two on a trip to Mexico in 2018 that left many fans wondering if they were done for good. The paparazzi captured photos that painted a picture of Rihanna screaming at her former billionaire boyfriend and angrily pointing her finger at him while they were on the poolside. What's interesting about the photos is that in comparison to Rihanna, Jameel looked very calm and almost passive in the argument, which made the whole thing go viral. Because of all the noise online, the singer took to Instagram and posted a meme of a female lion roaring at a male lion with the caption, quote, "When you think you know more about soccer, #World Cup 2018. But even though she had a good sense of humor about the fight, the couple still ended up splitting up in 2020 because allegedly their lives were just too different and it was too hard to maintain a relationship. Number 4. Nicholas Hoult and Jennifer Lawrence. The couple fell in love with each other when they first met on the set of the X-Men movie series and became co-stars. Jennifer played Mystique and Nicholas portrayed Beast. It all seemed to be going well for the pair until they suddenly split in 2014 after dating for nearly 5 years. They did have a really public fight, however, when they were once spotted arguing during a dinner. According to reports, the former couple was at a restaurant together when they started really getting into it. Witnesses claim that the actress was upset about something and even threw her hands into the air at one point. Nicholas apparently also got very frustrated as he started shouting at her. Jennifer had apparently had enough with him and broke down as he stormed out of the restaurant. Seems like it was a bit of a mess, but it's great that the former couple have since been able to move on with their respective partners. Number 3. Simon Cowell and Lauren Silverman. This was not just one explosive fight, but actually several. The lid was really blown off the couple's relationship problems when paparazzi captured photos of them in March last year having a tense argument while walking with their son Eric. According to The Sun, passerbys noticed that the X Factor judge had a face like thunder, and their arguing was so loud almost everyone could hear them. In fact, it was reportedly so bad that Lauren got fed up and had to walk away from Simon, while the former American Idol judge decided to cross the road to the other side to put some distance between them, and he walked the rest of the way on the other side of the street. But that wasn't the first time that the pair had a fight in public. In fact, back in 2013, the couple were seen shouting at each other inside a car in New York City. They were even photographed in the middle of an altercation while sitting in the back of an SBU in broad daylight with their windows down. Simon had his hands in the air and Lauren looked like she was crying. I guess it goes to show you that celebrities really are just normal people. Number 2. Beyonce and Jay-Z. Yes, I'm about to talk about the infamous sushi fight. So in 2016, the paparazzi caught the power couple dining at a sushi party Park restaurant in LA. And from the photos which surfaced online, we can tell that they really got into it. It showed them having anything but a pleasant sushi date. Beyonce was yelling and waving her finger at Jay-Z while he looked like he was glued to his phone the whole time. They say that it's rude to use your phone at dinner, but even worse, he just seems like he wasn't listening to her at all. The truth is, we'll never know what started the public argument, but it wasn't the first intense fight that they've ever been in. This all took place 2 years after the bizarre elevator fight at the 2014 Met Gala between Jay-Z and Beyonce's sister Solange, when she started attacking him by punching and kicking him in an elevator, all while the bodyguards eventually had to restrain her. It was really quite funny because Beyonce was just standing there and watching it all unfold. The three artists did make a joint statement about the incident, which read, quote, "They both have apologized to each other and we have moved forward as a united family." And coming in at number 1, Shia LaBeouf and Mia Goth. The controversial actor Shia LaBeouf has had some seriously messed up allegations brought against him in recent years, but this fight was just so bizarre that it deserves a place on the list. The actor and his former longtime girlfriend Mia Goth, who has recently starred in the horror movie X, got into a heated altercation in Germany in 2015 that was all captured on video. The argument occurred on the streets and got so bad that a few locals had to intervene. Shia was heard shouting, quote, "I don't want to touch a woman, I don't want to hit a woman, but I'm being pushed." He then got into a random person's car and had them drive him to the airport. He later told that same person that if he had stayed there, then he would have taken her life. But they seem to have made up after the fight and even got married in 2016 in Las Vegas, only to split up 2 years later. The relationship was probably a complicated one because in 2020, People magazine reported that the pair was spotted together wearing wedding rings. Hopefully they parted for good because they seem to be extremely toxic together. Number 10, Kirsten Dunst and Garrett Hedlund. This is a great way to start off the list because even though this public fight was embarrassing, it seemed like the couple were able to shrug it off relatively quickly. We're going to talk about the epic couple fight that happened way back in 2012 between actress Kirsten Dunst and her on-the-road co-star Garrett Hedlund, who just recently started dating at the time. Although the actors had plenty in common and things started going well initially, cameras caught the couple having a major argument on their way to a movie theater, which was so intense it looked like it was about more than which movie they were seeing. It looked like something had sparked a pretty big fight as the pair continued to hurl insults at each other on the way. Whatever happened in the car that day, it was probably just a petty argument because they ended up dating for another 4 years. And in 2015, Kirsten said, quote, "We're the same age, we have similar backgrounds, he feels like family to me." But sadly, like most other good things, the relationship came to an end in April of 2016. Number 9, John Mayer and Jessica Simpson. If there's one thing that Hollywood knows by now, it's that John Mayer is a bit of a playboy. His reputation as a womanizer definitely precedes him. So that's why everyone at one point was really surprised to see him with Jessica Simpson. He raised eyebrows when he used the phrase sexual napalm to describe his romance with Simpson and even compared her to a certain illicit substance that he said he couldn't get enough of. The couple dated for a year, but they broke up several times throughout their relationship. In fact, sources close to the couple told People that things were always on and off between the pair and they had arguments constantly. Unfortunately, 2006 marked the year that they decided to finally split for good. The couple was on vacation in Mexico when there were photos snapped of them arguing on the balcony of their room. Jessica looked like she was in tears and it was undoubtedly a breakup. The news of their split came shortly after the photos were released, meaning there's a good chance that the paparazzi actually captured the moment when Jessica and John called things off for good. Number 8, Adrienne Maloof and Sean Stewart. Apart from their almost 20-year age difference, it seemed like there were a myriad of other issues that plagued the brief relationship between Rod Stewart's son, Sean Stewart, and former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member Adrienne Maloof. The couple split up after having a blowout fight on the red carpet. According to eyewitnesses, the duo arrived separately and Adrienne walked the red carpet with an even younger man, 24-year-old Jacob Bush. TMZ spotted the pair fighting next to the red carpet at the charity event, which definitely marked the end of their on-again, off-again relationship. relationship. The argument between them got heated and Sean could be seen storming off, telling his ex, "I'm done," when her date tried to approach him. Stewart later claimed to Brandi Glanville on her podcast, quote, "I do want to clear up one rumor. She never broke my heart." But when it came time to explain the bizarre public fight, the reality TV star only told Star Magazine, quote, "I have a lot of changes going on in my life. I went through a period of darkness and I am much happier now than ever. Things are good." Number 7. Bradley Cooper and Irina Shayk. Bradley Cooper and Irina Shayk were one of the power couples in Hollywood. The two dated for nearly 4 years before calling it quits in 2019. However, the two have created many memories which fans fondly remember, even one of them at the famed tennis tournament. Paparazzi caught what looked like a super awkward argument between actor Bradley Cooper and his model girlfriend at the 2016 Wimbledon's men final. In the video footage from that day, Bradley was caught whispering into Irina's ear while she appears to cry and turn her head away from the actor. She appeared to be dabbing tears out of her eyes and then crossed her arms and refused to look at him. In the video, he then went back to watching the tennis and she just sat in silence beside him. While it's not clear why the two were really fighting or what they could have been possibly fighting about, but that didn't stop people online from speculating wildly the way the internet loves to do. Some even suggested that Bradley and Irina were fighting over his ex-girlfriend Suki Waterhouse. Although it feels like you can almost cut the tension with a knife, TMZ later reported that sources close to the couple claimed Irina was simply battling pollen allergies. Well, it really could have been anything. Number 6. Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck. The stars were photographed having a very emotional moment inside a car prior to their divorce. Back in 2016, the pair were arguing in their SUV after dropping their 3 children at school when things started to get really heated. Just looking at the picture that has been circulated online, you can tell that Jennifer was getting very frustrated with whatever Ben was saying, and she proceeded to make hand gestures throughout the argument, probably because she felt like she wasn't being heard. At one point, she can actually be seen breaking down in tears inside the vehicle. But this instance wasn't a one-off, and recently it seems like Ben has a lot of explaining to do. The 49-year-old was caught earlier this year puffing on his cigarette fiercely while appearing to be in another fight with Jennifer on the streets of Los Angeles. The exes appeared to be locked in a heated conversation outside her car just hours after it was revealed that Ben and his now fiancée Jennifer Lopez bought a $50 million home together. The pair rekindled their relationship in April last year, almost immediately after she ended her engagement with Alex Rodriguez. So the timing is definitely interesting.
Number 5, we have restricted oxygen. During an appearance on the Late Night Show with David Letterman in 1999, Tom Cruise would recall the moment where he restricted oxygen for a passenger when flying to Colorado. According to Tom, he and his co-pilot, as well as a passenger, were using oxygen masks because they were flying at high altitudes. However, Tom realized that he didn't have enough oxygen to stay alert at that altitude. Him and the pilot decided to turn off the oxygen masks for the passengers so they could continue on their journey. As he continued to tell the story, he would say that the passenger passed out due to a lack of oxygen, and he found the situation pretty hilarious. The whole situation was pretty much arrogant because Tom and his co-pilot had the opportunity to go down to a lower altitude to continue their journey. Instead of disregarding the passenger's safety, just decided to care about his own well-being, which just isn't okay. And number 4, Brooke Shields feud. In 2005, Tom would criticize Brooke Shields for using medication. The whole situation would cause a major rift between the two stars. Cruise would go on to tell Access Hollywood that Brooke was irresponsible for saying in her memoir, Down Came the Rain, that she used medications to help cure her of her postpartum depression following the birth of her daughter Rowan in 2003. Brooke then would respond to Tom by saying he should stick to saving the world from aliens. Tom would later be asked about his views in another interview on the Today Show, and he got into a pretty heated argument with the interviewer. Tom would go on to say that there's no such thing as chemical imbalance and insisted that vitamins and exercise were a better way to cure depression, before going on to call the host a glib. Brooke would then go on to say that Cruise's comments were a disservice to mothers everywhere. Tom would then go over to Brooke's house to later apologize, and they seemed to recover their friendship as Brooke would attend his wedding in 2006. And number 3, 60 Minute Australia interview. In 2005, Tom was interviewed by 60 Minute Australia to talk about his Scientology beliefs and Hollywood stardom. During his interview with the journalist, Peter Overton, he would be asked a series of questions about Nicole Kidman. Eventually, Tom would feel like the questions have gone too far, in which he prompted to say, "You're overstepping your line now, you're overstepping the line, and you know you are." When Peter was asking questions the public wanted to know, Tom would then respond by saying, "Take responsibility for what you want to know, don't say what other people say. This is a conversation I'm having with you, right?" Tom then continued to say, "I'm just telling you right now, just put your manners back in." And number 2, rant on set. I think we all had enough with the situation we were all put in following 2019. However, Tom really came across arrogant following a dispute he had with film crew staff that chose not to follow the rules. When an audio recording started to circulate on the internet, Tom furiously berated the crew of the Mission Impossible 7 set for failing to follow the rules, and we would all be left feeling shook when the actor went on to say, "If I see you do it again, you're effing done. We are the gold standard. They're back in Hollywood making films right now because of us, because they believe in us and what we're doing. We're creating thousands of jobs. I don't want to ever see it again. Ever." Fans then would become pretty divided over the outburst, as Tom went about the issue in such an aggressive tone and the use of language didn't sit well with any of us. While some agreed with his points, claiming that he was taking a stand for health and safety, there was definitely a better way of dealing with the situation. Number 1, hysterical antidote. Now, no one knows if this situation was less awkward or confrontational or simply just confusing. Tom made an appearance on David Letterman's late night show in the mid-90s. It would show the actor laughing for several minutes straight. The whole situation would start when Tom was trying to relate to Antidote about his latest movie. Tom began to crack up near the beginning of the interview and couldn't seem to stop laughing for the whole duration. Luckily for him, everyone around him also said it was funny, including David Letterman, who would also soon join his peers in laughter. However, the unexplained fit of near hysteria endures one of Cruise's most arrogant moments.
Kicking off our countdown list, number 10 is Britney Spears and Kevin Federline. He was a backup dancer and a rapper when he first met Britney, and after only 3 months of dating, the two of them went and got married, which seemed to do more damage than good to their relationship. Their marriage was not long, it only lasted 2 years, but it was a difficult 2 years for them. Kevin was accused of abandoning his pregnant ex-girlfriend, Shar Jackson, to date the famous and wealthy Britney Spears, who he also had 2 children with during their very short marriage. Their marital problems got so bad that Britney filed for divorce in 2006, citing irreconcilable differences. From there, the two of them had a very vicious battle for custody of their 2 children. Initially, they both filed to have sole legal and physical custody of the kids, but the courts ruled that Kevin should have full custody. On the night of January 3rd in 2008, police were called to her residence as she was refusing to give up her children, who she locked in a room with her. Britney went through a very personal, rough patch in her career, which we all saw, but she did manage to get her life back on track and is able to co-parent in the end. Rolling into number 9 is Khloe Kardashian and Lamar Odom. Their love story moved very fast, which many people were concerned about when it first happened. Back in 2009, they shocked everyone when they announced that they got hitched after just 3 weeks of dating. You literally don't even know someone after 3 weeks. How are you possibly getting married? They were married for 4 years before the divorce papers were submitted and things got really hectic. The world soon learned that Lamar was struggling with substance abuse and had been unfaithful to Khloe on more than one occasion. Despite being on her family reality show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, somehow they were able to hide the fact that he had been going in and out of rehab centers. Things took a really bad turn when Lamar had a near-death experience and was found unconscious inside of a brothel. It is then that we learned he had been cheating on Khloe more than we realized, and that his addiction was a lot more serious than anyone knew. Khloe officially filed for divorce on December 13th, 2013, and the two of them have since moved on with other people. Swiping the number 8 spot is Eminem and Kim Mathers. Reports say that Eminem and his ex-wife Kim were actually married twice. The first time being from 1999 to 2001, and then briefly down the road in 2006. They seemed like a match match made in heaven at first, dating for over a decade and having a beautiful daughter together. The two of them actually met at a house party when they were just kids. She was only 13 and he was 15, so they were together before Eminem made a huge name for himself. They actually dated all throughout high school, so when they got married it was really cute because they had the whole high school sweetheart story. But after he became famous, their relationship only ever made press for very negative reasons. It became publicly known that both of them had been disloyal to one another throughout the relationship and that they both were dealing with substance problems. After they split, sources said that the two of them would fight often and that their fights would get pretty nasty. Eminem also wrote his epic rap called Kim, where he describes what he wishes he could do to her now, and it's very disturbing. You should go listen. Up next, number 7 is Chris Brown and Rihanna. They seem like the music industry's perfect power couple, and from the outside looking in, everything seemed like it was a perfect love story. That was until one fateful night in 2009 when the horrific news broke that he had left her bruised and bleeding after an argument. Rihanna even testified against him in court, which is why fans were so surprised when they tried to give the relationship another shot a few years down the road. After the altercation, Chris was arrested and sentenced to community service and domestic violence counseling. He openly talked about his low point in the relationship and called himself a monster for what he did. But he also admitted that she got physical with him too, and that oftentimes all their arguments turned to violence, whether it was scratching, slapping, pushing, basically everything. So obviously the relationship was extremely toxic, and it was probably for the best that they went their separate ways. Coming in at number 6 is Rob Kardashian and Blac Chyna. Their relationship wasn't long, but it was probably longer than it should have been. They dated from 2016 to 2017 and even got engaged and had a baby girl together during this time. We got to know them as a couple through their own reality TV series called Rob and Chyna, and anyone who watched it could tell that it was a very toxic relationship. The two of them fought all the time and also had a lot of trust issues with each other. The show only lasted one season, because their relationship only lasted one season. Their breakup was a really nasty one as well. She moved out of their home and Rob went online and started attacking her, even posting some of her nude photos for the world to see. After that, they got into a very nasty custody battle, but they did go their separate ways for good, still co-parenting their daughter Dream. I love to see the co-parenting at least. At least. Freaking least you can do if you bring the child into this world.
Number 5, Channing Tatum and Jenna Darwin. While it seems to be a trend of couples meeting on the set of movies and getting together and becoming couples, Channing Tatum and Jenna Darwin were no exception, as the pair started dating shortly after they worked together on the iconic dance movie Step Up. Although it looked like things were going extremely well for the pair, they would show the world that there were signs that things were off for months before they announced their divorce. Jenna would even open up about the couple's last months together in their relationship in her book. This is when she would claim that the two were only hurting each other by staying together. Also leading up to the couple's divorce, the couple were often seen sharing words out in public before heading out and getting snapped by the media in several photos. And after the public arguments, it would seem like Jenna would rather look at her cell phone than talk to Channing. Number 4, Blueface and Krishan Rock. Lately it seems like Blueface and his girlfriend Krishan keep making headlines for all the wrong reasons. If you've been online for the past few months, then you probably have seen the viral videos and tweets of the rappers going viral with the rise of the couple's reality show Crazy in Love. However, while some users view the relationship as entertaining, I think we can collectively agree that their relationship is pretty toxic, as we have seen the two enter into some pretty concerning altercations. The problem with the two is not only that the relationship is dangerous, but it's also harmful for the immediate parties around them. While it seems like Krishan is the main reason behind the couple's toxic relationship, she would go into an interview to come out to address the public's concern about her relationship by saying, "We're just here learning, figuring things out. We met each other how we met each other, but that's it." However, now that Krishan has announced her pregnancy with Blueface, things are only going to get more messy going forward, and that's what is the most concerning part for their fans watching. Number 3, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman. Like any couple, it's no secret that Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman have endured their fair share of issues throughout their relationship. After all, Keith has used some of their disagreements as inspiration for his songs. While the couple often tends to keep their disagreements away from the media, back in 2016 when Nicole was captured giving her husband a look that no husband wants to see, the internet would go into a frenzy while they tried to figure out what happened. The confrontation would happen when they were at a movie premiere. Insiders will then tell the Daily Mail that things took a turn when Keith got upset over the couple's very busy schedules as they had spent the year apart. Apparently, Keith wanted to return to Australia to be with their family, but Nicole, on the other hand, was just really sick of Keith sulking about them being apart, and she just wanted him to be with her and support her career. Number 2, Rihanna and Chris Brown. Back in the day, Rihanna and Chris Brown had a relationship that made us all raise our eyebrows. Eventually, during their relationship, after headlines started to show that Chris got into a physical altercation with Rihanna, he would eventually be arrested and charged, and eventually the stars would also call off their relationship. Just before, the couple was at a pre-Grammy party when they started arguing in a car. Later, Rihanna would then open up about the altercation in an interview with Diane Sawyer. There, she would claim that their altercation started after Rihanna saw a text from a girl on Chris's phone. Rihanna then said that she knew he was lying and that he knew he had nowhere to turn. However, Rihanna would then go on to note that there had been warning signs that something bad was going to happen long before the incident. Apparently, the more the couple fell in love, the more they both started to realize how dangerous they were for another. Today, Rihanna has used her experience to help other young women going through similar situations. Number 1, Mia Goth and Shia LaBeouf. Just before Mia Goth and Shia LaBeouf decided to split, they had quite a habit of getting caught on camera having these really public fights. Just before the two started dating, Shia actually met and fell in love with Mia Goth on a set of their movie, and eventually they decided to walk down the aisle. While the couple has now gone on their separate ways, they were involved in some pretty high profile and public fights while they were in Germany. In a viral video in 2015, the two could be seen screaming at each other. The footage in that video would then show Shia walking away from the scene and getting into a car as he explains that he didn't want to hurt Mia. Then a source would confirm that apparently when Mia tried to talk to Shia again, he would then respond to Mia by saying he was being pushed and he didn't want to be aggressive.